Today's video is about how to be a good leader. So regardless of what you do, whether you run your own business, you work in a corporate, you work for a small agency, whatever it is, we at some point need to step up. Step up into a more leadership position. But not all of us have the Queen archetype or want to have the Queen archetype. In fact, only the other week I was speaking to a colleague of mine and she was like, oh, I do not want to be the Queen. But actually, if you do run a business, you do need to have an element of the Queen in what you're doing. And I've worked with many, many fantastic leaders in my time, and this video is going to talk through some of those qualities that I have found in those people. But for the rest of us who are just stepping into a leadership role, but the Queen may not be our main one, we can borrow lots of fantastic ideas from her and what she's doing. So the Queen in her queendom is somebody who has complete responsibility for herself and her life and the people who work for her or the customers she serves. So an element of complete responsibility. Another quality that great leaders have is this goal of peace and harmony for the people who they work for, as well as peace and harmony in their own lives. And what they aim for is that they want everyone in their world to get on well, to support each other. And the third thing great leaders often aim for is order, prosperity and abundance. They want their subjects to do well, not just themselves. They want everyone to benefit from what is happening around them. The great leaders also typically are realists and not illusions. They don't live in the dream world. They're pretty focused. They know what they want. They care about their people, but they are realistic about, what they can achieve and the time they can achieve it. And they kind of cut to the chase when things aren't working out. One of the best managers I've ever worked with, I call her a leader actually. She's somebody who, whenever I sat down with her, in a coaching environment, it was always about, I work for my people. If my people are doing well, I'm doing well. And finally, from my list, absolutely key thing is to not be a whiner. Great rulers, great leaders don't sit, stand and whine. They just get on with it. Let's do it. It's rather than whine at what's going wrong, how do I solve the problem? How do I keep these things going? So there you have a list of qualities that a good Queen has. Now let's say you are not the Queen, right? I'm not the Queen archetype. So when I'm being a nurturer, when I'm being a mum, I'm definitely in charge, and I have to be in charge, right? I'm responsible, not my 7-year-old. So if you are the nurturing Queen, that is also a very powerful archetype to play with. The other Queen, if you look at the Queen archetype, is the Magician. The Magician archetype is all about transformation, change, intuition. And a really good example of the Queen and the Magician is Mary Poppins. She comes into her home, she looks after those children, she does all her magic, and she's in charge of her subjects. She takes care of those kids. I'm not the Queen archetype, but I'm something else. But even so, there are blends and variations. So if you look at someone like, Oprah. Oprah is a really powerful combination of the Queen archetype. She rules the Oprah world, but Oprah also is a healer. And now she's using her work through her queendom to actually heal, and her shows like Oprah's Soulful podcast and her Soulful TV shows, and she does that really, really well. So don't feel that you can't be the Queen archetype if you're not a true Queen archetype, because whatever archetype that you do have, blend it by stepping up and evoking the Queen in you. So I hope that's useful. I'd love to hear what you think, so do leave comments in the section below. And if you've got any tips about your archetype, do share with me.